Hello there, dear listeners and dear Deb. Here's Moira and Deb with another deliciously motivating mindset chit-chat. I say chit-chat.
Yes. Chit-chat. Chit-chat. It is a chit-chat.
It's supposed to be lighthearted and fun, right?
Where we resolve the world crises.
Yeah, we're going to fix everything. Yeah, that's all you have to do is listen
Just
to
like
Deb
that.
and Moira and we'll fix it.
Yeah, we're definitely deliciously motivating, that's for sure.
Yes, that's the whole point. So today we're both really looking forward to our conversation today. We're going to talk about the power of the subconscious mind. I knew you were going to do some music or something like that.
It's just standard, just the standard.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
But before we start, we like to do this little check-in, and we're going to check in with ourselves too. Just on a scale of 0 to 10. 10's like top of the world, everything's awesome, and 0's like at the bottom of the pit of mud, feeling really stuck. Just rate yourself. Maybe rate yourself of your mindset and your emotions on a scale of 0 to 10. And Deb, where would you put yourself at on that scale?
I would say a 7. I would definitely say a 7. Yeah, a 7. 7 feels congruent to where I sit now. It's not BS number. It's not too high, not too low. Yeah, 7.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, I think I put myself around a 7 too. And of course, listeners, we've probably told you this before. Yeah, I'm copying her. We've probably told the listeners this before, but we talk for about an hour before we record these episodes. So we've, ironed out any bumps or dealt with any upsets that might be going on. But so now that Deb's getting upset that I'm copying her, I'm going to say 7.5.
What? Well, then I'm a 7.6.
It's all good. But the reason we like to do this, because this, and actually a technique that I use a lot of with my clients and myself, and Deb knows about this too, is the EFT tapping, emotion freedom technique tapping. And that rating ourselves from a scale of 0 to 10 is one of the best ways to check in to see how is this mindset piece or this idea or this technique, how is it impacting me? Because if it's going up, then like if it's reducing the emotional charge, then that's the best thing. Then you're on track, right?
Yeah, totally. And I guess the other thing is that something you could do throughout the day is just check in where you are, and then it's up to you if you want to shift your energy to be a higher level or a lower level. If, I'm at a 9, I need to bring myself back down to balance, or whatever balance is, that's probably a great thing to do. Although I wouldn't consciously do it every hour on the hour.
No,
what number am I now?
Yeah, but throughout your day is a brilliant thing, because we can't change anything until we step into awareness first, right?
Absolutely.
Which is a really lovely way to open the door to us talking about the subconscious mind.
I was just going to say, that's a great intro.
So there, and actually, Deb, you and I talked a wee bit about this, the idea of mindset and subconscious mind and listening to your heart, and there's sometimes people can get a wee bit confused by this. The thing to remember is the subconscious mind is the part of us that's got its radar out all the time on survival, wants to make sure that we're safe.
Fight or flight, is that what you're meaning?
Yeah, and that's in the subconscious mind. So that's actually a great point that you, to bring up. The fight or flight can sometimes be based upon something that was installed by your subconscious mind way back in your childhood to keep you safe. And now it's driving you still. So this is why it's so, so important to keep awareness around what's making you believe that, or tell that story, or eat that cookie, or do that habit. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. So it's a memory or a moment recall that you're holding on to, that you've either experienced yourself or witnessed yourself from the past. And that's what we store in our mind.
That's right.
To bring up that fight or flight, or any emotion really.
Yes.
Or any emotion is really fight or flight.
It
or
can
in the
be,
middle.
absolutely.
Actually, what's the middle one? Fight or flight or...
So to me, we've actually always talked about 4 Fs, and it's fight, flight, freeze, or freak out.
Ah, okay.
So those are all 4 of those Fs are the response from the subconscious mind. So you're either going to, there's this, so there's a little story that we used to talk about when I trained as a hypnotherapist, was the visualization was, think of a little bunny rabbit out in a meadow eating grass, and all of a sudden the ears twitch and it becomes very aware of a predator, right? So a wolf off in the distance or a fox off in the distance. So with that bunny rabbit is going to go immediately into survival mode. So so the choices are here for it to fight, get really strong and resilient and fight that predator that's coming at it. Or it could freeze and hope that just by freezing that it blends in with the landscape and doesn't get detected.
Yeah.
Or it could freak out. I would probably just do the freak out part.
Yep.
Or it could flee and run away into the safety of its underground burrow, right?
Yeah.
So now we all have that propensity to do that, right? We just choose whichever one comes or feels like the best thing to do. The thing about it, though, in that analogy is the bunny rabbit, once it gets to safety, it shakes off all of the result of going into survival mode. The results of going into survival mode are things like your circulation stops going to your extremities.
That's where people go into shock.
Yeah.
Is that what you're meaning? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden you realize you're safe and then you go, oh my gosh.
Right. But did you know, this is something that's really fascinating. All animals do this. They have this instinctive way of discharging that sense of fright, that sense of panic of, oh my God, I'm going to die. They shake it off. And so, and Deb, you probably had instances before when you go through some kind of trauma and then you come through it and you start to shake.
Yeah.
There's a time where I remember myself, I had taken a really bad fall and I started to shake. So did you know that the best thing is to allow us to shake? In fact, there's therapies that hold space for that shaking to continue until it actually stops. But the propensity of us as humans is to say, oh, no, stop the shaking, hold their hand, do. But really, that's our own way. It's like our subconscious
body responding,
doing. Yeah. Responding and discharging because now I'm safe, right? So that's the thing about this idea of bringing.
Why are we not taught that stuff?
I wish I knew.
Because when somebody goes into shock, we try and stop their shock.
That's right.
Don't we?
That's right. We do. Yeah. Yeah, we give them a sugary cup of tea, or there's a lot of things that we do for them that are good. Like I remember when I'd fallen and broken my arm. I remember when I got into the hospital, they put one of these warm blankets over me. And that just felt so awesome. That's a good thing. Don't stop doing that.
Yeah, don't stop doing that. Yeah, well, when we talk about I wrote down fight, flight, freeze, and freak out. Mm-hmm. What about so we either fight it or we flight, obviously, freeze or freak out. But what about actually if we just sit and get present? Like, why is there not an option, an F option? Why is there not an option of actually just going, okay, this is what's happened to me right now. Right now, I'm going to feel it. Feel. I'm going to feel it. And so then where does that sit?
Right. So that is a conscious choice. But see, that's coming from the conscious, not the subconscious. Those 4 that I just shared, they're all from the subconscious. So let's say I had a big fright and I somebody crosses lanes or does something, cuts me off on the highway. So my heart starts pounding. I get into a freak out mode, or I I want to freeze, or whatever the response is. Those responses happen. What you're talking about just get present, it's about getting present and noticing, I want to run away. Notice, I'm trying to freak out, or I'm trying to, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so that definitely is a conscious,
Yeah, by taking the conscious awareness of breathing and staying here, being present, you will then watch your heart rate slow down, and your breathing will calm down. Actually, that's another part that just landed for me too, is that when we are in shock into those fight or flight, we shallow breathe. We only breathe, we cut our breath off upper chest area. And what that does to our whole physiology is we're in panic mode. Everything's panic. There's panic, 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 panic. But if all we did was paused, and to your point, to just say, I'm going to stay present. So then we take a huge deep breath and feel it right down into our belly and sigh out loud. That gives our physiology, our entire system, the signal, everything's okay.
That it's going to be okay. Yeah.
It's going to be okay. Everything's okay. So that's that. I'd love for our listeners to try it and let us know, how does that feel? Because I like it when I do, deep breath in and sigh it out. It's so nurturing to your body, but it's calming to your mind.
I was talking to a lady last week, and she said she had her first panic attack, anxiety attack, and she said, I've never had anything like that before. And she said, and she was out shopping, and next thing you know, she's on her hands and knees in the middle of the supermarket, hyperventilating and everything.
Wow.
And I had never experienced anything, and so I said to her, if this ever happens again, I said, I'll do some research on it. But why, just stop, put your head between your legs and actually breathe. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And that's all I could think about at that time. And anyway, she messaged me the other day just to say that she could feel things niggling inside her, and she went, just breathe. And it was like this Deborah voice in her head, just breathe, breathe, breathe. And of course I made the big thing about breathe through your nose, out through your mouth, and who cares if it sounds like a blow off, when you whatever it is. So I made her really think funny on the how uncomfortable and how stupid it's going to be, everything. So it sort of took the whole, wherever she was just going to do it. And she said it just calmed her before, because she perceived she was going to get another anxiety attack. And she said it just calmed her. And I just went, I forget how important the breathing is. We do it so naturally. And it comes with ease, but we do forget that, just like you've taught me to put your hand on your heart. And that's another way of stopping and breathing and just feel, just to stop that whole chaos of what's going on around you, and take that moment.
Take that moment. And you just said the word chaos. I've always liked how you talk about chaos, the chaotic stuff going around you. But you see, the thing is that when we take a deep breath, it doesn't matter what chaos you're in, because you can suddenly come into your own body and go, oh, I'm actually okay.
It's not as bad as what I thought.
I'm not being attacked by a wild beast, or I'm not being hunted down by a dragon, or whatever it is, right? Because that is that propensity to go into my survival's at stake. That's all the response from the amygdala, actually.
Yeah, well, when you get to that state, you actually there's no reasoning that will happen. Exactly. You're beyond any sort of reasoning, beyond any sort of mindset control, talking it out. You're in that, and I call it a psychotic state. Not, there's different levels of psychotic, and to me it's just a word, but into that crazy, crazy state of, oh my God, I can't even function, and
But and I'm glad you said that, because in the work that I do and with my clients I think it's really important to just acknowledge that that's what you may be feeling. Don't try and censor it or stuff it down. Don't stuff it down, above all. So if you need
or feel. I like the word feel when we talk about that feel it. Actually feel it. And then you can deal with it. Feel
it. See, is it somewhere in your body? Is it somewhere like if it's a tension, you can maybe put your hand on that area of your body, and you send your breathing to that area, because the whole panic mode is sometimes to your point about the woman you're just talking about, the second time round is more about a panic of that thing happening again as opposed to whatever it was that had happened to her in the first place, right? It's like, so it's really being fearful of an idea rather than fearful of something that's really happening.
Or something that's totally. Well, it is. It's a memory that she's holding on to.
And this is the power of the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind does not know the difference between an image that you're looking at, whether it's a mental image
real or not,
or if it's something you're really experiencing. So that gives us huge power when we start realizing we can change the channel. We can turn the volume down, we can change the channel, we can bring our awareness back into this present moment and focus. What do you want to focus on?
Well, you make that conscious decision to change that pattern, to change that memory, to change that that stored moment that you're recalling. It's you have made that conscious, and I say conscious because it's now conscious being it's now at the forefront of your forehead. You're aware of it. You have made that conscious decision to do something about it or not. And if you don't, it's just going to get bigger next time. And it can come at a time when it's totally inconvenient
Absolutely.
for you. But you make that conscious decision on what to do with that.
And when as you're talking about conscious decisions, it's making me think about taking responsibility for what's happening for you. Right? So if you're in a situation that feels scary or panicky, it's our responsibility to do something about it. Whether that means, talking it out or focusing on our breathing or finding something that feels more comforting or nurturing or whatever it is you need to do to look after you. Put your hand over your heart. Like Deb says, that's my big go-to is
that just settles me right down instantly, and it can be done in a public space that doesn't make other people feel uncomfortable. Because if you've been told to get on all fours and bark like a dog to help you get through whatever, you don't want to be doing that in public. I don't know why I said those things, but but I mean, it's something that okay, if there's anybody who gets on all fours and barks like a dog to help them get through, I'd really like to get to know you, please, because I don't know why that image came up. Please, everyone, just disturb that image, get rid of that image. But hand on the heart is something I could probably get away with on all fours and bark like a dog.
I'm sure I could see you doing that. Yeah.
I actually think I probably could pull that one off. But I would rather put my hand on my heart and just calm a farm. As my cousin says, calm your farm when people get grumpy. Which I giggle at.
Do you know, and talking about the heart, because the truth of it is our heart is way more powerful than our mind if we would allow it to guide us more.
I think that key there, as you said, if we allow it, because we can allow it, and it's if it's not too voodoo woodoo for some people, if we allow it.
But to the point is that oftentimes we're not taught things like that. We're not taught or guided into just sit down for a moment and breathe on that idea or that opportunity or that option and ask your heart what it feels.
Well, that's too much out the norm. If you go into a big corporate building, like you work for the council, and if someone says, "Oh, we make a decision," they go, "Just let me just tune into my heart and just see what's sitting there."
That would be great.
Those people at that table will be like, "What the frick? Who? You what? You want to tune into what?" But then there'll be other people who go, "Nice, I understand that." And they say women have an intuition. And I giggle at this because they keep going, "Oh, women have an intuition. Women just know. We just know." Yeah, and guess what? Men know too, if they want to tap into it. Don't just think it's women who, "I know when he's doing this," or "I know this." And if the men actually were really focused on it, they have it as well. But most of the men are not that focused on that. They're just like filling their life up with other things. Some men.
That's a really That's a really good point. The truth of it is that intuitive nature is feminine in nature.
Yeah.
And every being on this planet has masculine and feminine in them. It's just that we are both women, so we tend to put our attention more on the feminine. Although I don't know about you, my masculine part is very strong too.
Just going to say,
Oops.
I may have
no.
long nails.
I know. Long nails and earrings and long hair.
And then the voice. The voice. Yeah. No, well, it is. We do have that masculine and feminine within us, and we do choose to pull it out when we find it appropriate. But definitely the intuition, women quite often just say, oh, males don't know that. And I'm like, no, they do. They don't just want to tap into it sometimes. Like they know and they're like, whatever.
Well, they tend to, so that's the thing, the masculine thinking, it tends to be much more linear and thought-based as opposed to feeling, because, that's seen to be weak, heavy, or don't have time
which I do giggle at, because I go, gosh, I have an equal amount of male and female clients. Like, so I still have this, and at my workshops I go, oh, I wonder if I'm going to get more males or more females, and I have an equal amount each time, and I just amuse myself going,
that's good.
Wow. Yeah, it's great. I love seeing that. I love seeing that. But it's that whole masculine, feminine thing.
Yeah. But interestingly, even though there's the masculine, feminine, it's still being driven by our own subconscious set of beliefs and what we came through, what we've witnessed, where we came from, and so it's sometimes that knee-jerk reaction is based upon something that, the thing that lands in my mind as I'm trying to formulate my words here is the idea of it's always been done this way, so it's always going to be that way. Do you know what I mean by that?
That to me is a male thing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's don't what does they say? Don't fix it if it's not broken. Don't change it if it's not broken.
Yeah.
Well, I want to cut the time frame down, so I'm going to break it to mend it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and so when you get called upon to change something like that, sometimes it can feel really discombobulating, or that you might be feeling like you're losing control a little bit. But these kind of things has to happen in order for change to happen.
Absolutely, and you have to bring that to your conscious for your change to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So when it hits your conscious, that's when you can go, okay, I can change it or I can leave it.
Yeah.
If I leave it, am I going to learn another level of experience from this lesson? or do I just leave it as is? Like, what am I prepared to take on next time?
Right.
Or if it's not broken, do you need to fix it?
Absolutely. But that leads me to another point that I'd love to share with our listeners, is that with the inner dialogue about asking yourselves about whether you want to change something or let something go or make a different choice, I think it's really important to remember to not ask ourselves why questions. Like, why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep attracting that? Why is this always happening? Because those questions, when we ask those questions of ourselves, the answers will always be suppressing us. They'll push us down. They'll be negative. So I encourage you to, if you do have the propensity to use why, is to just check in with that and reframe it to what. Use what can I learn about this pattern? What can I do to make a different choice? What is this situation or habit teaching me? What is the gift here? What is the benefit of this? So you can just, I don't know about you, but
when you talked about it, it was like, what if, or what happens when I do this? It sounds more exciting, more energy, more liveliness, like, well, what happens if I do this? Or and you just sound like you're on a roll. You're ready for the next level now, instead of why.
there is some medical research on that about when a human is asked why, we go to the midbrain, which will always be into protective reaction. And
Oh, wow.
so therefore it's kind of like, if you ask yourself why, your immediate reaction is, oh my God, I must have done something wrong. And that's what we do to ourselves. So this is how to navigate and accept and be aware that we all have these patterns. This is coming from our subconscious, but it's power. It's our power as well. It's nothing to feel shame about or feel like you've got to get rid of it.
Yeah, it's interesting because now I've just written down why, it's an arrow towards what. I don't know how often I actually use the question why. So I'm going to just put it as a post-it note on my computer and just see what comes up.
Good. Yeah.
Because how often am I going to say the word why?
Now that we've had this conversation, you're probably going to say,
I know. Yeah, that's funny. That's what happens. You go, I never do that. And then literally you do it very quickly. And you're like, I'm sure I said the word never. Damn. Why is this happening to me? What if I change this? What if it just feels more energized, just changing those two words.
And I don't know about you, but what feels like it's coming from my heart more than why is coming from some kind of, I don't know, space that something's wrong.
Yeah, why to me seems like it's not going to be able to be fixed.
And it's a disempowering thing, right?
Yeah, totally. It's a downward a disservice. Yeah, why just feels like it's never going to be answered properly.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because, the scenario that just showed up in my mind as I'm thinking about that is, let's say you've got a group of people in front of you that have a problem, and you come in there and say, why do I need to help these people? That's not going to create any kind of opening for service or solution.
Yeah, see, that's just a-holeness. Yeah,
I know, isn't it? Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas if I come and say, what can I do to help? There's immediate, oh, let's do this. Let's get this show on the road and help these people, right?
If people have just listened to Moira, they would have heard her say the why. And when she said the why sentence, her energy was down, frustrating, low.
Yeah.
In the manure. And then when she said what, she became, like alive. The lights were on her. What can I do to help? Like with energy. And I just encourage listeners to listen to how they talk. Like if they're saying the why or the what, how their sentences are put out there to people. And when you say them outside your head, you can hear, a friend of mine the other night just said, have you got some time to talk? And I said, do you just need someone to listen to and bleat to? And she was like, no, I need some feedback. And I said, well, clearly I have a feeling you're going to listen to your own words and you're going to realize how stupid they are. She's like, okay, well, I'm not going to ring you, because I could hear how stupid it was. So I said to her, she was driving. So I said to her, drive and talk it out to yourself in the car and listen to your words and listen to your energy. And she said, how am I supposed to do that? Driving, listening to myself, and then she messaged me, then she did her drive and she messaged me when she got home and she said, yeah, I get it. It is stupid. Cool. It's really stupid. It's so stupid. I don't know why I'm thinking of saying it. But that was purely because she talked it outside her head.
Yes.
Instead of the reasoning in her brain was going, do this, why, and well, what if I did this, and what if I, and I could change that angle, I could do that. And she came out of that 15-minute drive as way more energized about what she was doing than the actual initial thing. But so the short version of that is, say it outside your mouth. Yeah. Say it outside your mouth and listen to yourself, because you heard Moira say why and what, and you would have heard different energy when she said both.
Yeah. No, well said. Very, very well said. And then the other part to just wrap that one up is to just pause and say, how do I feel about myself? How do I feel about myself when I'm saying why about this? And then check back in. How do I feel about myself when I say what about this?
Well, that's that rating again, what we talked about at the start as well.
Yeah. To me, that's one of the most profound guidance systems, is just creating that. And it can only you just have 1 minute to just come.
It's an awareness. It's an awareness, and that's what's important right now.
Absolutely. So you're going to either feel weighted down by something or lifted up. And that's what we're looking to have is.
Yeah, totally. Totally. And it's about uplifting each level of our life.
Yes.
With what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with the power of the subconscious mind, how else can you tap into that subconscious mind?
So one of them, and you reminded me of this story, and I've shared it with our listeners before, about making sure that we come back into the power of our heart. And so the story is that when we get stuck in our subconscious mind, we can be saying no to certain things just based on this. It's always been this way. So the story is that let's say you're at a networking group, and there's a guy over on the other side of the room that reminds you of an uncle that was abusive to you as a child. And so you completely close off. You don't want to go talk to that person because in your mind, you've got this belief that this person is abusive. And somebody comes up to you and says, see that guy over there? They want to talk to you about a business opportunity. And you immediately, no, absolutely no. Because remember, the filter in your mind, the subconscious mind says, no, you got to stay away from that person. And so you say no immediately. And then the person then says, are you sure you don't want to go and talk to that person? It's Bill Gates. And immediately you feel in your heart this a massive opening. Of course you're going to say yes, right?
Yes.
But you see, it's a simple kind of silly story. But the piece about it is that it was enough of a shock to snap you out of that subconscious programming, belief, labeling, filter, whatever you want to call it, and you landed into your heart and actually saw, here's a beautiful opportunity. Let's go have this conversation, right?
Yeah.
So this is why the subconscious mind is very, very powerful, and it's nothing to say that there is anything wrong. Asking what questions and coming into our heart, to me, are the two most powerful ways to guide through and create what it is we want to create and what we're capable of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's getting grounded again. It's that hand on the heart when that the wobbles, the emotional wobbles hit, hand on the heart and feel it, and then go what instead of why.
Yeah.
And it's just taking those things to not resolve our mind, but actually just see the bigger picture.
See the bigger picture and actually have the experience. I like your term, emotional wobbles, because the truth is we all do have them, no matter how much work we do, and it's part of human life. We will. But if we can help you in these conversations and by whatever practices you take on, is to allow yourself to feel the emotion. Maybe it's feel the irritation, feel the anger, feel the upset, feel that whatever it is, feel it. Don't say why is this happening, because it just is. Yeah. And so then we can feel them and let them pass. Remember I said earlier, don't bury things. There's I've heard people will start to, actually it happens a number of times where people will be telling me something that gets them triggered and they start crying, and then they start apologizing to me and, oh, I shouldn't cry, and it's like, no, it's okay. Be with your emotions.
Well, and I think the thing is, I get frustrated with that. People go, oh, I don't mean to cry, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, frick, let it all out. Exactly. Don't try and stop it and apologize because you look ugly when you cry.
Yeah.
No,
it's okay.
Oh, I must look so ugly. It's like, really? Like, that's the least of my things.
That's what I'm doing, is sitting here judging, saying, oh man, they're super ugly.
I know. I'm actually wondering if there's enough tissues to get through that box if you're going to continue bloody crying, It's not that, oh gosh, your mascara's going to run, love. Yeah, no, it's taking them out of that state.
It's that judgment state of saying, oh my gosh, I am not worthy of having another person hold space for me while I just sort of unfold and let all of this go through. But you know what? That's the only way to get through it. Is to show up with authenticity and be the bubbling, crying person,
Wreck.
it will pass.
Yeah.
It will pass, but it will only pass to the degree that you open yourself up to the experience and let it flow through.
Yeah.
Because when we don't, we just gave some more armor or some more fodder for that subconscious mindset belief to hold on to and create an even bigger sort of lens that we then look at the world or life experiences through.
Yeah, that hairball has just got bigger and hairier and yuckier and attaching more shite to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing, is because who is it that said that? I think it's Buddha said, life is suffering. We can't pretend it's not. There is suffering here, but we can move through it. We wouldn't be here if we couldn't move through it.
Well, yeah, everything's a lesson. I mean, I'm not even going to hit on the coronavirus thing, but that's definitely, it's interesting with the coronavirus. People are coming out now and saying, look at the amazing blessings that have come from this. Absolutely. Look at this, although I did laugh. I spoke to Mum and Dad yesterday and I said, well, 9 months time from the coronavirus, there's going to be a lot of babies born. And Mum's like, oh, Deborah. I'm like, no, I'm true. It's going to happen. It's going to happen because there's going to be a lot more self-isolation. You can only watch so much sport. But yeah, then the emotional wobbles will really hit.
Yeah. No, and but so the point is that, and this is something that I've said for years to my clients, is that when you're stuck right in something, a trauma, some suffering, a fear, you may not necessarily recognize the gift or the lessons or the positive part. But if all you did was hold on to, it's here, I just can't see it yet, and keep breathing, stay present, like Deb was saying earlier about just choose to be present. You might be present and feel like you're crying, and stay present and I'm scared.
Feel it.
Whatever. Just feel it. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And keep breathing. And before you know it, you will be through to the other side and you will recognize that. And then you'll remember, Moira's words will reverberate in your head and say, oh my God, there it is.
Oh, now I get it.
Now I get it.
I've been listening to it for how long, and now finally I get it. Well, if it took you that long, wow, that's great.
That's all that matters. Yeah, but no, seriously, sometimes, and I've told people that in my own life journey, there's been times where it's taken me years to then go, oh, there it is. I see it. Sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's longer, but it's got me to the point of always knowing I may not be able to see it right now, but I know I will at some point.
Yeah.
Yes. So, dear listeners, we will wrap up this conversation about the subconscious mind. Hope it gave you a little bit of something to work with, to heal with, and we invite you to check back in and see, on a scale of 0 to 10, where are you? Did this lift you, or did it? I hope it didn't bring you down.
Bit of bloody nod of.
Where would you put yourself now, Deb?
I would definitely say higher, although in saying that, not much higher, because I'm now going to consciously be aware of why to the what. So, and this is what I love about our chit chats or our podcasts or whatever we're labeling them at, because I come away not just feeling like, oh, I know everything. I come away going, that's a great question. We're going to do that and and you're going to look at how often do you say the word why, and let's change it to what. And, I don't know, what do they say? 21 days it changes the habit or whatever. I don't know. I think once you start doing it, you anyway. But I am going to consciously think about why to the what. So I've given myself extra work is what I'm saying. So when I said I was a 7 before, I'm definitely saying I'm more up leveled, but I've now taken on more consciously aware of my language.
Very cool.
To the why, to the what. So I'll say a 7.5, where you were before. Yeah, I'll say that. I'll say that just because I've given myself more work, which is not work anyway.
It's not really work, because
we know that's not work. Yeah, and this will be a curious one. Why to the what? the why to the what.
You'll have to keep me posted on that. I put
Yeah.
myself at sort of 8.5 to a 9. I love talking about these kind of things and empowering people to look at things in a different way. That always lifts my soul, my spirit.
I would love more feedback on people. Let us know. Let us know. And so it's not just us two, you know, the deliciously motivating duo, just blah, blah, blah. I would like to know what you use, what you don't use, how you go from A to B, what, you know, what popped up in here. Tell us a story.
Tell us a story. Ask us questions. Give us some feedback. So
use
that's
us.
what we've created that Facebook group for you to do that and interact with us.
Yeah. Done. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank
everybody.
you.
Thanks, Deb. We'll talk
Thanks,
to you
Moira.
again soon. Bye.
Bye.